In the span of 24 hours, Shohei Ohtani had his own life threatened in South Korea and supposedly had his best friend betray him. His own interpreter that he has known for years, who has spent more time with Ohtani than he has his own wife. But let's rewind. Ippei Mizuhara was hired by the Boston Red Sox in 2007 for pitcher Hideki Okajima. After Okajima left the Red Sox in 2011, interpreter Mizuhara would go to Japan to seek work. And in 2013, while he was still in Japan, he met an 18-year-old phenomenon, Shohei Ohtani. He was hyped up to death, and he signed in Major League Baseball in 2017. When he signed with the Angels, he made sure to bring his personal interpreter along with him. And in the 2022 lockout, staff was not allowed to go near any of the players. So Ohtani's interpreter quit his job with the Angels so that he would be able to spend time with Shohei. Obviously, after the lockout, he was rehired by the Angels. I mean, he literally quit his job for this guy. Clearly, they had a great friendship. As the years went on, Ohtani broke record after record in MLB, becoming the first ever back-to-back unanimous MVP, becoming the face of baseball. Ohtani was special, but was sitting on a winningless Angels team. They were unable to build around him and successfully win. And there was only one true man to blame out of all of this, and it was the owner, Arte Moreno. You obviously know that Shohei brings a lot of money to the table, right? Except it's a lot more than what you would think. Ohtani was able to generate $70 million every season before even throwing a pitch. But the owner was not willing to pay Shohei the mega contract that he would later get. And here's where things would get super interesting: the offseason. In the beginning of Ohtani's offseason, he was already in controversy. And while it was not directly his fault, a bad report stirred up a lot of drama. The report said that Ohtani was on a plane and was going to be a Blue Jay, only for us to figure out minutes later he was on no plane and he was still in Southern California with his dog. He later signed with the LA Dodgers on a massive 10-year, $700 million deal. Ohtani was finally in an organization that wanted to win. The Dodgers went on to continue spending money and building around Shohei Ohtani, whether it was the huge trade for star pitcher Tyler Glasnow or signing a Japanese superstar Yoshinobu Yamamoto for $325 million. The only thing that was left was to showcase their talents on the field. Then, spring training happened. In what were meaningless games, it was still cool to see the Dodgers playing at such a high level. But then, March 20th happened. The Dodgers and the Padres had a series, and they were going to be playing in South Korea. But within a few hours' notice of the game, there was a bomb threat, and it was directed specifically at Shohei Ohtani. The way that they were alerted about the bomb threat was from a staff member who worked inside of the stadium. The member got an email from a man who was claiming to be a lawyer from Japan, who said that he knew that there was going to be a bomb that would detonate during the game. South Korean police knew that they then had a job to do and that they had to clear the stadium immediately. They proceeded to send in 150 police officers who were equipped with canines, X-ray detectors, and other undisclosed tools. And after searching, there was luckily no bomb threat, so it was just a false alarm and it was dismissed. It was a hectic 24 hours for Shohei, but somehow, that doesn't even compare to what else was going to be going on inside of Shohei's life. Supposedly, Ohtani's best friend, his interpreter, stole $4 million from him. Oh, well, wait, that might not be right. What if it was Ohtani who gambled the $4 million, but blamed it on his friend? Okay, but wait, that might not be right either. So we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning and figure out what exactly happened here. It all began when the face of baseball, Shohei Ohtani, popped up in a federal investigation here in America. This investigation was between his interpreter and an illegal bookkeeper. Sports betting is illegal in California, and that's why his interpreter was supposedly using a bookkeeper. Ippei Mizuhara told ESPN that he was betting on soccer, NBA, the NFL, and college football. also telling ESPN that he did not bet on baseball one time and that he knew the rule because the team had already talked about it in spring training. But after betting $4 million illegally, he was now obviously in debt. And according to Epee, he asked Shohei Ohtani for $4 million, and Ohtani gave him that money willingly. Before asking Shohei, he clarified why he never told him about the situation. He said, "I couldn't share this with Shohei. It was hard for me to keep my ends meet. I was going paycheck to paycheck, because I kind of had to keep up with his lifestyle. But at the same time, I didn't want to tell him this." So basically, Ohtani lives a very rich lifestyle because he is rich. But as the interpreter, $500,000 a year in California is not enough to go and live a luxurious lifestyle. Ohtani was apparently not happy about the situation, but he would help his friend. He originally told Ohtani that he needed to send a wire to pay off the debt. Ohtani had no idea that this was illegal, and after that, Ohtani and his interpreter logged onto Shohei's computer and sent 8 or 9 transactions over the course of several months. We thought that we finally had some assurance on the story, but then Ohtani's lawyers ended up saying something completely different. His lawyers said that Shohei Ohtani endured massive theft from his interpreter, Epee. So now, according to Ohtani's lawyers, he actually stole the money, and he was not given the money willingly. At this point, no one knew who to trust. Should we trust Epee, who is saying one thing, or should we trust Ohtani's legal team? Well, the good thing is that Epee ended up returning to ESPN to give them more information after Ohtani's lawyers came out. This time, he had a different story, and said that he originally had lied, and according to Epee, Ohtani had no idea about his gambling. So in that case, were the lawyers right? Did he steal that $4 million over time then? It surely sounded like it. Epee knew that reports were coming out, but it was during a game, and he was actually in the dugout with Ohtani during that game. After the Dodgers' comeback win, Epee told the team that he was sorry and that he had a gambling addiction. A Dodgers executive by the name of Andrew Friedman stood up during this time and said to the team that Ohtani was the one who was paying off his interpreter's debt. But according to ESPN, this is when Ohtani actually figured out about the gambling. On the way back to the hotel, Ohtani began asking questions about what they meant in the clubhouse with this entire situation. It was then, when we connected the dots, that Epee had not told Ohtani about any of this. Mizuhara was later fired by the Dodgers with no additional statement from the team. For several hours, no one knew what was going on, but Shohei Ohtani was going to be in the lineup for the second game of the year, but it was going to be without his interpreter. During that game, we finally got some information. According to Fabian Ardea from The Athletic, Ohtani was not currently facing any discipline or believed to be under investigation by the league for Epe's situation. After the game, Shohei chose not to speak with the media, and Dodgers PR guarded Ohtani's locker so that a reporter could not speak with him. At the time, the biggest problem that fans had with MLB not investigating was Pete Rose, one of the greatest hitters of all time, who did not get into the Hall of Fame because he was betting on games. MLB figured out that he was betting by investigating him. So everyone thought, okay, why was he investigated but not Shohei Ohtani? But one day after this report from The Athletic, MLB issued a statement that they were going to be beginning Ohtani's investigation. Should the face of baseball be investigated? Did Shohei Ohtani actually know that his best friend was stealing money from him? Or did Ohtani willingly give him that money? Or was it Ohtani who was actually the one gambling, but his friend is taking the fall for it? With MLB's investigation, we will all know in the future.